How is it going, everyone? And if you've been watching our videos over the last week or so, you know that I've been reiterating how I think 2026 is looking to be an incredible year for gaming. I look at the lineup that's already confirmed for 2026 and I'm like, wait a second, even if a couple of games get delayed here, this year is shaping up to be stacked. 2026, that is. You know, there's been a lot of talk about 2025 being really good, and I think it was. I think it was a great year for gaming, but man, 2026 is looking to be even bigger, and you know me, I love me my Legend of Heroes, and now we have it confirmed. Trails in the Sky second chapter has been announced for PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch 2, Switch, and PC. This is the direct sequel to Trails in the Sky. Obviously, you want to play the first chapter, but second chapter has been confirmed, and it's coming fall of 2026. You know that's making my 2026 even more exciting. As somebody that's been glazing the franchise for like 7 years now on this channel, oh man, this has instantly shot up to one of my most anticipated games of the year. And you guys are signing up to hear me ramble about it for probably the next 9 months until this game comes out. So we'll talk all about that. And another game a lot of people are excited for 2026 is Yakuza Kiwami 3. We've got some new details on that, so I'll talk that at the end of this video. But Trails in the Sky second chapter has been officially revealed for PlayStation 5, Switch 2, Switch, and PC. Again, this is the direct sequel to Trails in the Sky first chapter. I won't put out the description that Gung Ho has put out about the game just because, obviously, there's a lot of narrative spoilers. Trails in the Sky first chapter ends in a pretty big way. A lot of narrative unraveling in that game towards the late stages of the game that set up the second chapter. If you have yet to play the first chapter, I know that, you know, the Game Awards is never going to nominate games like Trails in the Sky and Legend of Heroes and 100 Line Last Defense Academy, which I think is super lame. You know, those games, I get that Trails in the Sky was a remake and maybe that hurts its chances of being nominated, but those two games in particular deserve all the nominations in the world for best narrative, you know, even best game of the year. 100 Line got absolutely robbed for best narrative, and I'm gonna say that over and over again. But nonetheless, Trails in the Sky first chapter was an outstanding remake, and thankfully, with that game coming out, we finally can lay to rest. I don't know what game to start with. You know, pre-Trails in the Sky first chapter, I was just recommending people to go with either Cold Steel 1 or even Daybreak, because those were more modern games. Going back and playing the original Trails in the Sky, yes, I know a lot of the Legend of Heroes diehards are gonna recommend that, and ideally from a narrative standpoint, you would want to do that. However, it's just not realistic to tell people to go play a PSP era game. However, now that we have a full-on remake of Trails in the Sky first chapter, chapter closed, case closed, Trails in the Sky first chapter is the game you play if you want to get into Legend of Heroes. And just think about it this way, Trails in the Sky first chapter and second chapter kind of tell a cohesive narrative that don't even think about the overarching daunting task of going through all of the games. However, I do hope that after Trails in the Sky second chapter, we get Trails in the Sky third chapter, and after that, I hope we get full-on remakes of the Crossbell games. I think there's an audience that really wants these games, and this franchise is certainly growing. I'm not saying it's at the level of a Persona. I'm not saying it's at the level of Final Fantasy. However, there's an audience for these games, and it's slowly growing, and when you have the engine in place, and you see that there's an audience that do want these remakes, I just think doing remakes of the Crossbell arc makes all the sense in the world, because I would argue Trails from Zero and Trails into Azure are stronger games than the Sky titles. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I think Crossbell, from a narrative standpoint, you can make the argument it was the height of the franchise, although I really did enjoy Daybreak 1. Daybreak 2, not as great, and I will say this, 2026, another year for Legend of Heroes players being good. We get a actual quality top-level new Legend of Heroes game in Beyond the Horizon, whereas Daybreak 2, I enjoyed Daybreak 2, but Daybreak 2 was a lot of filler, and I ain't gonna lie, that time-traveling stuff and all of that, not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of how that was all handled, and by the end of Daybreak 2, I did feel like it was a bit of a slog to get to the end, but I still enjoyed it overall. But 2025, we got Daybreak 2 and Trails in the Sky first chapter. 2026, we're getting Beyond the Horizon, which by all accounts is a stronger game by a significant margin over Daybreak 2, and Trails in the Sky second chapter, which Trails in the Sky first chapter was great, not taking anything away from that, but you're talking about also getting into the core of the narrative of Sky as well, where things are really going down. I think that's gonna be exciting, man, and juggling these games, these lengthy JRPGs with all of the other titles that are gonna be coming out, and I'm sure that there's a lot of major games that are gonna be coming out in 2026 that haven't even been revealed yet. The Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag remake, that's not even been revealed yet, and I'm sure some games might get pushed to 27. Hopefully games like Control Resonant come out next year, and so on and so forth, but you know, I can totally see a Control Resonant get pushed to 2027. You know, the idea of top-level games from Remedy or any major development studio coming in 3 years from one another, that's fairly rare, although, you know, we are getting Trails in the Sky first and second chapter, but that's a lot of reused assets and whatnot. I get it. Control Resonant coming from Alan Wake 2 in 3 years, I still think is going to be insane if they can manage to pull that off, but nevertheless, Trails in the Sky second chapter will be coming in 2026, fall of 26. I would imagine September, because that's right around the time Trails in the Sky first chapter came out, and I don't give a damn if it's even November. If November has the release of Trails in the Sky second chapter and Grand Theft Auto 6, let's just say they come out on the same day, what game you guys think I'm gonna be playing? I'll just leave that for you guys to figure out. Alright, moving on from that, Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties have gotten a significant amount of new details, detailing some characters and some insight onto that. This is a remake of Yakuza 3, adding some new content, which is great because Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 are fairly dated experiences going back and playing this game. I will say that at a $60 price point, I know that they're adding new content. If you are not an absolute Yakuza fiend, this is one that you can wait until the fall of the year, and we've seen historically that these RGG titles, they will get pretty darn cheap by Black Friday time. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii was down to like $25, maybe even $19.99 during Black Friday. It got pretty damn cheap. So if you wait a while, I think you're gonna end up being able to get this for $20, $25 by the end of the year. And Kiwami 3 is a game that you want to be caught up until that point. Yakuza 0, Kiwami 2, I would ideally recommend you to play those games. Don't just jump right into Kiwami 3, but the hardcore fans are gonna buy it day one. I'm probably gonna be getting it day one, but, you know, long-time Yakuza guy over here. But if I was the average person that, you know, picks and chooses games to buy and I didn't have this channel, Yakuza Kiwami 3 absolutely would be one of those games I'd be waiting on a sale for, just because I've seen the track record with Sega, and I think it's one that it'll pay dividends if you wait until the fall. But I get it, the hardcore fans are gonna buy it right away, and that's totally fine. You've got the Dark Ties extension to the game as well. They also highlighted the Miyazato dojo. At the dojo, Kiryu can train under Miyasan, starting with the basics of the Ryukyu style. As he improves, he can take on promotion exams, with Miyasan promising to pass down the secret techniques of the style should he succeed as well. They highlighted Miyasan as a character, some of his background, the bad boy dragon, assemble a motley crew of delinquents, and rule the streets. Join the small-time gang and protect Okinawa. With the Tokyo Night Terrors wreaking havoc in the streets, Kiryu must step forth as the gang's new leader, gather their allies, and train the Heisei girls into leading the girl gang in Japan. Fight alongside 5 allies in baddies battles, or gear up 20 of your gang members for massive rumbles as well, and take on various other challenges as well. More insight about the game has dropped, and more information will be rolling out ahead of its February 12th release date. Again, some people might bug out over me saying wait for a sale on this. However, it's from the notion of these games always go on sale fairly quickly. I'm sure you're gonna get content that's worth $60 and you're gonna get hours of gameplay, but if you're talking about being selective as far as which games go on sale, which is what I cover a lot on this channel because we know you know, we're trying to save money with all these big games coming out in 2026. Yakuza Kiwami is just one that is gonna go on sale by the end of the year, and maybe you don't want to wait that long. If you don't, by all means, pick it up day one, and you're gonna get your money's worth. But that'll do it for me. Again, I'm so stoked for 2026, you guys. Trails in the Sky second chapter at the end of the year, Beyond the Horizon in the beginning of the year, and then Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties February 12th on that, and we've got more details on that. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.